There I was inside the Embassy of Ireland to the People's Republic of China. This was Beijing in 1987. I said to the Chinese waiter, 同志, 请你给我一瓶啤酒. Comrade, please may I have a beer? The Chinese waiter handed me a bottle of beer, a foreign beer. I felt I was going to enjoy this evening. Tucked inside the pocket of my suit was my letter of invitation. Embassy of Ireland, Beijing, 29th of April 1988. Dear Mr. O'Leary, as you may know, the President of Ireland, Dr. Patrick Hillery, will be making a state visit to China in May. While in Beijing, President Hillery has expressed the wish to meet members of the Irish community in China. For this purpose, there will be a reception at the embassy on Tuesday, the 10th of May, 1988. Yours sincerely, Gareth O'Brien, Ambassador. The President of Ireland. I was going to get to meet my president. I had never before met a president. Indeed, I have never since met a president. I must be one of the few gay men of my generation who did not get to meet President Mary Robinson. And I must be one of the few middle-aged residents of Northern Ireland who did not get to meet President Mary McAleese. At the embassy, a much sought-after foreign beer in my hand, I shamelessly headed for the buffet of Western foods. Living as a student at my Chinese college, I hadn't eaten fresh bread, dairy butter, or cheese in months. Nevertheless, I was distracted now by the Chinese waiter. Comrade waiter was cute. I admired his smooth skin, his cheeky grin. Hello, sexy. It was Mary, the teacher from Ireland, who'd come over to speak to me. Mary was admiring my suit, my black, pure silk suit. This suit, I had got it made by a Chinese roadside tailor to my own design. I like the shoulder pads, Mary teased. Very Linda Evans. Linda Evans was an actress in a 1980s American TV show called Dynasty. Mary took me by the arm and whisked me away, saying, let me introduce you to Peter McNiff. He's a TV reporter from RTE. He'd like to interview you. Richard, said the reporter, I must ask you a few questions. You being the only Irish student in China. I understood the importance of this TV interview and my need to be diplomatic. This was, after all, a significant event in China-Ireland relations. That same day's newspaper, China Daily, the English language edition, of 10th of May, 1988, had carried a front-page headline which read, Yang, Hillary, want China, Ireland to cooperate closely. Given this call for close cooperation between China and Ireland, I remembered to tell the reporter about the friendliness of the Chinese people. I remembered to praise the dedication of my Chinese teachers. I felt the TV interview was going really well. The Irish Department of Foreign Affairs and my Chinese host would be very pleased. Then the reporter asked that question. The question which above all questions I dreaded being asked. Worse still, I was being asked that question on TV. The reporter asked me, Richard, do you have a Chinese girlfriend? Could I dare tell the truth? I was so aware that we were in the embassy, a little piece of Irish soil in China. On Irish soil in 1988, gay relationships were a criminal offence liable for up to 2 years in prison. Was I going to admit in front of the Irish president and on TV that I preferred boyfriends? And what would the Chinese think? In China in 1988, homosexuality was treated as a mental illness. Coming out as gay could be punished by being sent to a mental hospital. So being on Irish territory, I was condemned as a criminal, and being in China, I was condemned as mad. Hobson's choice. Perhaps it would be better to lie. To lie saying, I did have a Chinese girlfriend. After all, the Chinese might be pleased if I said I thought Chinese women were very attractive. The problem with this reply was the Chinese police. I recall that the very first day I arrived in China, we foreign students were brought together for talking to by a policeman. This Chinese policeman told us in no uncertain terms that Chinese girlfriends were off limits to foreigners. Oh, the sacrifices I had to make when I went to live in communist China. But the Chinese government would be embarrassed if I revealed on TV that its police had warned off foreigners from dating Chinese. I glanced to the side and caught the eye of the Irish ambassador. Was this the time to precipitate an international incident between Ireland and a state of 1 billion people? But the Chinese and Irish governments were the lesser of my worries. I was more worried about my mum. What would mum think? My dear Irish Catholic mum, who would no doubt watch this RTE TV interview. Which answer could I give that would least upset my mum? To tell the truth and come out as gay? That might give my mum a heart attack. Or should I lie and say I had a Chinese girlfriend, an atheist, communist, Chinese woman who might one day become my Irish Catholic mother's daughter-in-law? That too might give mum a heart attack. Which story about a Chinese girlfriend would I tell in front of Chinese officials, TV viewing viewers in Ireland, and to my mum? After the reception, I returned to my college. The next letter I received from my mum made no mention of my TV interview. I was anxious about how that interview had gone down with mum. So in the next letter, which I wrote to her, I raised the subject. This letter, Beijing, 13th of July, 1988. Dear Mum, I had a letter from Terry saying that she had visited you in hospital and that you looked very well for someone who had a heart operation. On the night of the reception for the president at the embassy, I was interviewed on TV. Peter McNiff of RTE took me aside and asked me some questions on the spot. I wondered what I said and who was watching. A few weeks later at the embassy, I was able to finally view on VHS tape a recording of the TV program. Yes, I was included. No, they did not broadcast my positive opinion of my Chinese teachers. The only clip they used for my entire interview was of me responding to the question, do you have a Chinese girlfriend? I had replied to the reporter, oh, I'm too busy with my language studies to have a Chinese girlfriend. Then I remembered to add, but Chinese women are very beautiful. I had lied for China. I had lied for Ireland. I had lied for mum, and I had lied for myself. A minor diplomatic incident avoided. The major personal disclosure of coming out as gay postponed.
Thank you so much, Richard. Magnificent. Lying for Ireland and for China and for yourself. One of the things that struck me in your story, Richard, amongst the many items that you have on display, one of the things is that you kept on speaking about a foreign beer. Was that foreign to an Irishman or foreign to China?
It was foreign to China because at that time there were very few imported products, and one of the rare ones was imported Heineken beer, which was much more expensive and probably tasted a little bit better. So that was a treat.
Okay, you sounded remarkably like my dad, who, when I said to him once, do you eat all vegetables? He goes, well, I eat Irish vegetables. And I held up pepper, and he goes, that's a foreign vegetable. So you made me think of my dad, thinking about foreign vegetables and foreign beers. Sometime, Richard, we must see whether we would be able to get a little tour of your archives room, because I'm given to understand that it is a place of magnificence, because there is never a story where you haven't said this suit, this letter, this menu, this napkin. So sometime we must see if we can get a tour of that. Can we just get a quick kind of yes, I'd like to see that in the chat box, because my guess is that lots of people who know your stories would love to lend their support to getting a tour of your archive room. Check it out, look at that. Yes, Claire, Kathy, Karen, Annette, Darren, Danielle, Janet, Diana. Yeah, they're all crowding in. We all want that tour. So we're looking forward to that.